The theme of our morning presentation is on the Bhagavad Gita. The message and the teachings of the Gita. This was a teaching given unto the human race in ancient India by an avatar, a Messiah. From time to time, when true Dharma deteriorates and disappears, and it has to be rejuvenated and retaught, then the good Lord takes a human birth and gives a teaching, gives a message. A message which will lead you to salvation or enlightenment. And this teaching is not something new. Krishna himself says that in bygone days, this teaching was given before. So in tradition, it comes down. But the original teacher and the original source for all good teachings in the world is God Himself. When people ask you, from what source is this teaching? The source is God. That's the only source. All the teachings filter down from there. No one can invent a teaching or create a teaching. So this is a good old truth. Retaught from time to time to the human race. So what Lord Krishna did was, he synthesized the original teachings, which is already there, but was latent, not easily available to the human race at that time, and gave it a new format called the Bhagavad Gita in 18 chapters from 18 points of view. When you look at a problem from 18 points of view or 18 perspectives, it becomes clear. And the questions which are dealt with is, what is the meaning of life? What is the purpose of life? And how to live it? How to live it? How to live your life? Not with ignorance, but with enlightened wisdom knowledge. This is said to be the higher knowledge. And there is a lower. That means, if this is the higher knowledge, there is also a lower knowledge. What is this lower knowledge? The lower knowledge is worldly knowledge, which you may pick up from schools and colleges in the modern sense of the word. But the higher knowledge is that which gives you comfort, which sets you at peace, which shows you the day, which shows you the door and the way to your blessed state, to your own blessed state. Now people very much wonder, what is the subject matter of a scripture? This is a scripture. The Bhagavad Gita is a scripture. Scripture means it's a revelation. It reveals a revelation. It reveals what you do not know. It doesn't have to reveal what you know. So with your human mind, you will know everything which is in the universe. Or you may know. But to know the higher truths which are unknown to you, then you need a different source from which this knowledge comes down to you. And that is the purpose of a Messiah. A Messiah or an avatar, it's one and the same word, same thing, comes forward to give you this teaching. And this teaching deals with the fundamental truths of life. Fundamental truths of life. You want to know the truth. And you also want to know the truth about yourself. Who am I? And what am I? What am I? How did I get here? And how am I to get out? How am I to get out of this situation? Or can you put it this way? How am I to get out of this universe? Now that's something, isn't it? All your knowledge is on the universe. But that is something mind-boggling for you to even comprehend, that you can get out of the universe. And not only that, having got out of the universe, you still exist. That's a remarkable thing. And you will exist in your true nature, in your true beingness, eternally. And that is what you want. You want to be immortal. You want to be immortal. Not only do you wish to be immortal, but you want to experience and be in a blessed state of existence, in a blessed state, wherein you need nothing, you want nothing. You are whole and self-complete, so that you can rest in peace with yourself, without longing for anything, without doing anything. That's a wonderful thing, without doing anything. Now you're tired of doing, and you're tired of living, isn't it? So you wish to get to a state. Sometimes people may even envy those who are down in the grave because they do nothing. But unfortunately, they are not there. So, here is a blessed state of existence, wherein you are perfection itself, wherein you experience a perfected existence. And this teaching is all about that. So you are the theme and the subject matter of a scripture, because it is you who have the problem. It's you. So it's trying to resolve your problem of existence. Your problem of existence. And the Gita is giving you a teaching on the art of living. On the art of living. The spiritual art of living. By which, living the words, living the message, you could arrive at and get to your blessed state. And it will be interesting for you to know, there is not one word of religion in the Bhagavad Gita. Not one word of religion. In the conventional sense. In the conventional sense. And this teaching was given at the time of a man's crisis. Man's crisis in life. It's a dialogue between the teacher and the student, between the guru and the disciple. It's a dialogue, an ongoing dialogue, wherein questions are asked and the doubts are resolved in the teachings. And this was given at a time when Arjuna, the disciple, had a problem to do or not to do. To do or not to do. Now, Krishna is coming forward and telling him how to do it, how to live, how to live. But how to live with wisdom, not with ignorance. So this wisdom deals primarily with the fundamental truths of life. What is the nature, the true nature of everyone, of everyone. The true nature of everyone is referred to by the term Atman in the Bhagavad Gita at all times. Atman. The word Atman is used with a capital A. Atman means the self, your true self. So it reveals to you the nature of your true self. What is your true self? But then on the other hand, you have also to deal with your individual self, your individuality. Your individuality is called as the Jivatma in the Gita, or the individual soul, or the individual self. And then, how to get away from this individual self and use this individual self as an instrument, as a tool to function, knowing well that that is not your true self, but to be based on your true self, on your true being, which is the Atman, and then to function in life, then to function in the world. Presently, the human race is functioning based on its human individual self, its human individuality. Therefore, it is beset with all the problems. So the focus of the center and the focus is shifted from the individual self to your real self. So based on your real self, you can now learn to function and live your life. So therefore, this teaching was given during a crisis. And Arjuna was perplexed as to what dharma is. Dharma means what is the norm of righteousness, what is right and what is incorrect, and to function in a right way, and how to function in a right way. So what is righteousness? What is true righteousness? The existing knowledge that he had, he found it not sufficient to resolve this question as to what dharma is. He was a little confused. He was confused because of emotions. So when you are beset with human emotions. You cannot delve into a problem or a situation and see it clearly. When you are angry, you cannot see things clearly. When you are full of passion, then too you cannot see what is right and what is wrong, what is righteousness. You lose that capacity. When you are in a state of sorrow, same thing happens. So these emotions come in your way and cloud your good understanding. They cloud your good reasoning. They confuse you, your emotions. So this was a problem with Arjuna at the present moment. Because of his human affections, he was unable to truly comprehend the nature of Dharma. So now, what Lord Krishna did was, he extended this concept of Dharma to a higher scale, And though Arjuna asked about Dharma, he put him on to and gave him an instruction on the eternal Dharma, which is called the SANATANA DHARMA, the eternal Dharma. And eternal Dharma is that which is valid for all times, which is eternal, and eternally valid at all times for all people, irrespective of their whereabouts, irrespective of their culture. It's equally applicable to one and all. That eternal Dharma. That eternal Dharma is your Atman, because it eternally exists. The Atman eternally exists. Your true Atman, it eternally is. It's immortal. So now, you have to base your life on this Atman and then go on living your life, living your life. Now, in order to give this instruction, Lord Krishna introduced the idea of that there are two ways of living a spiritual life. Two ways. One way is to live an active life in the world. Active life in the world. You can live in the world, live an active life in the world, and attain enlightenment or salvation. That's one way of living. The other way of living is, if you have got total dispassion, if you have lost all your interest in the world, and you have no desires, no ambitions, then you could afford to withdraw from life and lead a contemplative life of a hermit. So these are the two ways of living. In case you have no further desires, total dispassion has dawned within you, then you withdraw from active life, from active society, and withdraw from all normal actions, and live an exclusive knowledge discipline or contemplative life. A contemplative life which involves knowledge discipline. It's exclusive. Then on the other hand, if you have still got things to do in the world, things to achieve, and many wants and needs, then a person should live an active life in the world and live a spiritual life. And of course there is a third way of living too, which he doesn't talk about. To live like an animal, without any scruples and without any principles. That's no way of living at all. So therefore that doesn't come into the theme of our subject at all. So therefore this teaching is meant for these two types of people who wish to lead a good spiritual life, active life in the world, or for a person who has got total dispassion. And one and the same teaching is being given to both. So, for both types of persons, the same teaching is being given. So the person who is receiving the teaching must find out for oneself to which he is suited for, to which he is fit for. And thereafter, having made the choice, now actively proceed further. That is why at the end of the Gita, Lord Krishna tells, your question was to do, your problem was to do or not to do. Huh? And how to do it. So he has told him how to do it. But then he tells him at the end of it, I have told you whatever I have to tell you. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. So Arjuna says, yes, I have understood everything what you have told me. I will do as you have said. As I have understood the way you have said. So one the same teaching is given to both the hermit and to the active person living in the world, who people called as a householder or living a family life. Living a normal family life. So thus, the entire teaching deals with both of these ways of living. Both of these ways of living. He enunciates who is fit for what and who is fit for the other. All that is mentioned. So that you yourself can discern. But initially, Arjuna wanted Lord Krishna to take the decision and tell him only one of the two ways which is good for me. He was suffering from intellectual laziness. He wanted Arjuna to take the decision and then to blindly obey. No, Krishna didn't do that. Because he wanted to give him a knowledge, a wisdom teaching. So the wisdom teaching means the student has to understand it. Only when you have understood it can you make a decision. You can't blindly live. You have to live with a good understanding. So once you begin to live a spiritual life, then you live that life with a good knowledge, not with ignorance. Unfortunately, we find that many a person in the world lives or tends to live a spiritual life with ignorance. Therefore, the first thing that they should seek is the good teachings, the good knowledge. The first thing. That's what is important. And it is that good knowledge, the living of the good knowledge, which will save you, which will liberate you. From whom? From yourself. From yourself. It will liberate you from yourself. Because you are the problem, and your problem has to be resolved. You the problem. You are the problem, and you the problem has to be resolved. Now, what did Krishna do? He brought in various aspects of the spiritual knowledge. First of all, he brought in this unique knowledge about the immortal nature of the Atman. And what is the Atman? What is the Atman? So this knowledge is contained in Advaita Vedanta system. in Advaita Vedanta, wherein it speaks about the divine, that knowledge structure, which opens out and tells you that you are the divine. You are the divine. The Upanishads, their prime purpose, their prime teaching is that you, everyone, is the divine. Everyone is the divine. And this is a little preposterous, a little difficult to absorb for people. Why? Because conventional religion has already conditioned you and misguided you into the notion that you are here, God is there, that you have to worship and pray to God. Conventional religion. But here, the teaching is being given that you are gods. Every one of you is the divine. I am that. I am that divine. That divine which I seek with all my heart is my true nature, my true beingness. So I am that. So when you are told that you are that, thereafter, you must go on living your life with this awareness. With this awareness that I am that. So, this knowledge, this is a contemplative knowledge wherein you feel the oneness. And this feeling of oneness is said to be true devotion. People think that when you pray to somebody, that is devotion. No, that is not devotion. That is false devotion. But the true devotion is wherein you feel your oneness with the divine. You feel oneness. Maintain this awareness of oneness. And this is true devotion. Nothing more than that. So this knowledge gets incorporated as a basis for the entire instruction of the Gita. That's the basis. That I am that. The Atman is there within you. Is within everyone. Is within everyone. And therefore, you have to be now centered in your true beingness. You have to be centered. Now, how to be centered in your true beingness? That is why Krishna gives a unique definition for the state of yoga and teaches you how to be centered in your divine nature. How to be centered. So he says, a very wonderful definition he gives us, samatvam yoga uchyate. That means the state of mental equipoise or the state of mental balance or equilibrium is said to be the state of yoga. Yoga means that yoga is a mind science and a spiritual science. And yoga means that which unites you with your divine nature. That process which unites you with your divine nature. And how does it unite you with your divine nature? By stating that the state of mental equipoise or equilibrium is said to be yoga. So when you are balanced, without being disturbed, and calm and at peace with yourself, you are in a state of yoga. It doesn't require any physical twisting of the legs and arms. nor does it require any mental twisting too, isn't it? Nor does it require that too. It's all just telling you to be calm, to be balanced. And then what happens is, when you are calm and balanced, are you not centered? You are automatically centered, isn't it? Now, where is God centered? God's center is everywhere, and also at the same time, God's center is also within you. Remember that. Huh? So therefore, in order to be centered in God, how many centers do you have? Or can you have? You can have only one center. So therefore, when you are centered, automatically you are God-centered. See, the whole thing is so simple. Automatically you are God-centered. Right? And now being God-centered,
Sorry.
see the whole thing? Being God-centered, if you have got things to do, happily go about doing it. On the other hand, if you have got nothing to do, keep quiet. Being centered. Being centered. Because you have got nothing to do. When will you have nothing to do? When your karmas are over. When your karmas have done. When will your karmas be over? If perchance you had done your duties, fulfilled them, and done it completely and correctly, then your karmas are over. See the whole thing. And in case you have not done what you are supposed to do, or if you have wrongly done, then don't you think that you will be made to do it again? Huh? So therefore, when you do your karmas perfectly and well, completed, you may not be able to do everything, but whatever you can, just do it and complete it. Just do it and finish it off. So if you have got things to do, do it. If you have got nothing to do, just remain quiet. A hermit has got nothing to do, so he remains quiet. So thus, this is what Krishna said. Be centered. And how to be centered? Does it require some complicated things? No. Now do you see how simple it is? Be zero into the whole situation. So thus he gave this knowledge, the initial. So this is the foundation. Your true religion begins here. The living of your true religion begins here. Wherein you know your oneness with the divine and you are going to be centered and live your life. Then, having given this basic knowledge about the Atman and how to be centered, then he tells, since you are in human bondage, you are involved with nature, are you not? You are involved with nature. You have two types of natures. One is your human nature. Your human nature which is made up of your emotions, your feelings, your thought patterns, and your human impulses, all the desire patterns. So this is the human nature, you are involved with this. And you are bound to this human nature, and bound to it and bound by it. Are you not caught by it? So you are caught to your human nature, you are caught and caught by it. This is called Prakriti. In the Bhagavad Gita, the word Prakriti is used here. And then there is an external nature, which is the world around you, the universe around you. This is the outside nature. So what has happened to you? You have got involved with both natures. Have you not got involved with the world around? You see this glamorous universe. It's a glamorous world. And it has captured and captivated and fascinated you. So you're involved with this wonderful world. So you're in human bondage now. You're excited with the world. You want to do many things. This is your life. This is the external nature. Then there is an internal nature. The internal nature is made up of your human emotions, feelings, and you are caught in them. You are wrapped in those. So this is also binding you. Now, don't you want to be detached from it? Or can I use another word? Would you not want to be released from it? Released from free of all of these emotions, feelings? You're troubled by whom? Yourself. You're troubled by yourself. You're troubled by your thoughts. People often complain. They've got a mad mind. They've got troubled by their mind. They're troubled by their emotions, their feelings. So you want to get your release from it or get detached from it. Therefore, in order to get yourself detached from your nature, the science of Sankhya doctrine or Sankhya philosophy has been introduced by Lord Krishna into the Gita. The Sankhya, which deals with Purusha Prakriti Viveka, that is to say, how you as an sentient intelligence could dissociate itself from inert nature, from your human nature and from external nature. So the word Prakriti is used for nature, both internal and external nature. And the word Purusha is used to indicate that you are the supreme intelligence within, who at the moment is involved with this nature, but you want to get your release from it, get detached from it. So therefore, this science has been introduced into the body of the Gita. Not explained, but introduced. He mentions it here and there. So he presumes that you may need a working knowledge of this. Then it explains the nature of nature. Nature is further explained as the nature of nature. So once you have understood that, how you can get yourself dissociated from the operations of nature, from internal and external nature, how you can dissociate yourself from it. So this is one aspect. Then the other is, so having said this much, so this doctrine is incorporated. Then the next factor which has been incorporated in the Bhagavad Gita is the science of mind. The you have a mind. You have to deal with this mind. The mind is a problem. And you have to overcome this mind. This mind is constantly active, like a mechanical mind, like a machine. And you are victimized by your own mind. So how to obtain mastery over this mind? Mastery over this mind. How to let go this mind? How to? Shall we use the word how to lose the mind? Huh? People often say he has lost his mind. They don't realize how good it is to lose it. Yes, but they say he has lost his mind. But we are going to spiritually lose the mind. Spiritually. That is to say, how you could make the mind into a no mind state. Mind, no mind. Right? So if you overcome the mind, there is no mind. No mind. And if there is no mind, what else is not there? When the mind is no more, the world too is no more. That's a remarkable thing. When the mind is not there, the world is not there. That is how you get out of this universe. Now you see. You see how you could get out of this universe. By losing your mind. By losing your mind. And how to lose it? How to? So you don't have to enter an institution. You know, every spiritual center in the world is called an institution, unfortunately. So you don't have to enter that institution. And how to lose this mind? Make it into a state of no mind, so that you can go beyond the mind. This knowledge is in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, which is a mind science, how to overcome this mind, this troubling mind. That science is there in that particular teachings of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. So that knowledge is incorporated also into the Gita. It's incorporated there. And Krishna gives a novel way by which you can momentarily lose your mind, momentarily become free of the mind. And he gives a very simple solution. He says, settle the mind in the Atman. And the mind has got absorbed in the Atman. Just settle it down in the Atman. Become aware of the Atman and stop thinking. And stop thinking. Just be quiet. Just be quiet. When you are quiet and when you are silent, automatically you attain to the state of no mind. We know no with a little n and m with a little m. So the mind, no mind. So when you are quiet, look for the mind. When you are quiet, just look for the mind and you will find the mind. You don't know where it has gone. There is no mind. If only you could remain in that state. But unfortunately you can't. Because no sooner you keep quiet, then what happens? from the subconscious. Your thoughts well out and you get carried away by the thoughts. You get lost in the thoughts then. So you got lost in the thought world, which has surfaced and you got carried away. So in which world are you living? Which world? You are living in your mind world. You are living in your mind world. Now, the word dharma is used. He wanted to know what true dharma is. Arjuna. And the Mahabharata, now in the Mahabharata situation wherein the war is to take place, external war, just before the war took place, the teachings were being given to Arjuna. Now that external war, now the teachings, the war is really allegorical. The real war is taking place here, not out there. So it's an allegorical representation of the inner battle raging within man, between the good and the evil within man, between the positive and the negative, between your noble instincts and your ignoble instincts. And there is a constant wrestle within you, between these two. And this is the real dharma. So the real war is being fought in your mind. So the mind becomes the minefield, the battlefield. It is the battlefield, the mind. The minefield, M-I-N-D. A mind field. So this is the real, so the whole teaching is revolving around the conflict which is going there within you, between the positive and the negative impulses. And it's a constant wrestle. And once the positive and the negative impulse, the positive or the good impulses, have overcome the negative impulses within you, then what happens? Does not peace reign within you? When you have overcome the negative impulses, will not peace reign? Generally people going for war, thinking that peace will come after that. But here, the real war is taking place here. And when you have overcome your negative emotions, negative feelings, negative impulses, then peace reigns within you. So once peace reigns within you, then what can you do? You can do two things. You can peacefully live, and secondly, you can peacefully repose in the Atman. Repose. So peacefully reposing in the Atman was referred to by the term yoga. We use the term yoga there as mentioned in the Gita. So therefore, once a certain amount of inner peace comes in within you, you will develop a better capacity to be in a balanced state. Then when you are in a balanced state, you are reposing in the Atman there within you. Atman within you. Now, so in order to overcome this troublesome mind, the nature of it, the way it's functioning, Krishna is telling you to constantly bring this mind, bring back from wherever it goes. Bring this mind back to the Atman. Settle it down. Settle it in the Atman. Settle it in the Atman means how to settle it? Try to be as calmly aware. That's all. Peacefully and calmly aware. Bring it back. Be at peace with yourself. Don't permit any agitations and just be there. Then your mind is reposing in the Atman there within you. And this process will help you to overcome this mind of yours. This turbulent mind of yours. This turbulence in the mind will gradually subside. Will gradually subside. Don't expect that it will subside in one day. Over a period of time, when you are more and more able to develop this practice of settling the mind in the Atman by being centered. So when you are functioning, be centered. When you are operating in the world, be balanced. Then you are automatically centered in the Atman and then go about function. So therefore the science of mind is also incorporated in the Gita. Then he introduces a unique concept in the Gita, which is Krishna's unique contribution. That is, since you have to live your life in the world and go through your karmas, you have to operate in the world. So you have got to operate, function and live in the world. This is your karma. Now, how to perform these karmas? So in the 4th chapter, he's introducing a new concept for the execution of these karmas or actions of yours. Your daily obligatory duties and functions is said to be your karmas. And how to perform these karmas? How? With what attitude to perform these karmas? So he says, these karmas have to be done with a spirit of sacrifice. With a spirit of sacrifice. So that I use the word a spirit. With a spirit of sacrifice. When a mother is taking care of a newborn baby and the little children, she is performing a great sacrifice in taking care of those little ones, those helpless little ones. With a spirit of sacrifice, she is doing it. So also when a person goes out to work in the world outside in order to support their family, this person is also doing a great sacrifice. Sacrificing his time, his energy, and accumulating resources so that his family can be maintained. So a sacrifice is being done. So with this spirit of sacrifice, one should go about doing one's duty. Now in the Gita, Krishna introduces a new word for this sacrifice. He uses the word yajna. Y-A-G-N-A, yajna. The concept of yajna he introduces. So do all your actions and functions as a sacrifice. Sacrifice. Now what the pagan priests have done, the pagan priest, they have created pagan rituals in temples, in churches, etc. And they have invented these rituals and called those rituals as sacrifices, as a yajna, as a sacrifice. But the real yajna, the real sacrifice, which Lord Krishna is, that every action that you do, every household action, work action, social action, any karma that you do, is to be done as a sacrifice, as a yajna. And when you do this, this is a new concept which he has introduced, but which has not been emphasized because of the camouflage of pagan rituals in all religious societies, wherein these pagan rituals are called as yajnas. That's not the true yajna, the true sacrifice. This is the true. So when you do this, what happens is, all your actions, you sanctify your actions. You sanctify. The process of sanctification takes place by the performance of all actions. As a yajna, sanctification is taking place. Sanctification. You get sanctified. When you get sanctified, you need the sanctification. So these karmas sanctify you. When done with a spirit of sacrifice as a yajna. So therefore karmas or actions are very important. These are the real rituals. You have heard of the word rituals. Temple rituals, church rituals. But this is the real ritual. And what is the real ritual? The ritual of living life. Living of life itself is a ritual. And if you can learn to live life as a ritual, then this will sanctify you. The ritual of taking a bath, haven't you heard? The ritual of taking a bath. The ritual of eating food. The ritual of eating food. It's a ritual. The ritual of farming. That's a ritual. When the farmer does his farming, he's performing a great ritual there. So that the entire human race can gather the harvest. So what a wonderful ritual that he is doing. Not only is he producing something for himself, but for all concerned. It's a ritual which is being done. This is the true ritual. And when you do this with a spirit, with a concept, with an idea of a ritual, that it is a ritual, then this sanctifies you. And once it sanctifies you, you get purified in nature. Sanctification is taking place within you. So therefore, each one will have to go through their obligatory duties and functions in life in order and perform them as a ritual in order to obtain this sanctification, this process of sanctification. And Lord Krishna is specifically introducing this concept in the body of the Bhagavad Gita. Then, having said this much, then he says, one more thing that the human race will have to acquire, or the human individuals will have to acquire, and that is you have to cultivate virtues in life. Virtues. Become a virtuous being. Ethics. To be a virtuous being, you need ethics. Ethical living is needed. Ethical living. And there are two types of ethics. One is worldly ethics. The other is spiritual ethics. Spiritual ethics. And over again, Lord Krishna has introduced in many a chapter of the Bhagavad Gita this concept of spiritual ethics, which lays the foundation, which gives you the foundation for life, and which is part of your worldly dharma. So when you go through your worldly ethics, your worldly dharma is being maintained. when you go through your spiritual ethics, there's a difference. There's a spiritual ethics too, which is being enumerated time and again in the scriptures, in the Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures. It is being mentioned over and over again. And these virtues have to be cultivated. And when you cultivate these virtues, you become a virtuous person, a noble, righteous soul, a pure being you become, a pure soul. And it is the cultivation and the acquisition of these virtues which make you a godly being. So, why should you become godly? Because you have to experience the God within you. If you are not godly, you can't experience it. Remember that. So, in order to experience the God within you, you have to be godly. So, in order to be godly, you have to cultivate the godlike virtues. Isn't it? So, these godlike spiritual virtues, when they are cultivated, you become a noble soul. You become godly, worthy of. You become competent and worthy of attaining your God nature. So all of these factors have been incorporated in the body of the Bhagavad Gita. He speaks of the true knowledge to be based on your Atman. That's one aspect. Second is to be detached from nature. The Sankhya philosophical knowledge is introduced there over the entire body of the Gita. Then to overcome your mind, this mind of yours, to overcome it. You need the mind science to overcome this mind. And then having overcome this mind, then to repose this mind in the Atman. The process of reposing this mind in the Atman is mentioned very graphically and clearly in the 5th and the 6th chapters of the Gita. Thereafter, to perform your actions as a great sacrifice which will sanctify you is enumerated in the 4th chapter. Thus, in this way, and the virtues that you have to cultivate is there all through the Gita. All through the Gita, because that is the most neglected thing. And the hardest thing to overcome these negative impulses and to cultivate positive virtues. So the body of the Gita is complete, is self-complete. But the difficulty is, it is a mystical teaching. So it's a little difficult to comprehend it. When you read it, it becomes a little difficult. But nevertheless, when it is taught by a mystic or a mystically minded person or a wise person, it becomes more clear. It becomes more clear. And also, the Gita is such that connecting the verses one from the other is also not that very easy. There's a connection. From one verse to the other verse, there's a connection there. How it gets connected to the subsequent verses. So a little bit of patient understanding is necessary. And whatever one reads, read a few verses at a time. It is not a novel to be run through, but rather to be pondered upon, to reflect upon, till you can comprehend it, till you could comprehend it. So therefore this Gita is a very sublime teaching, non-religious in content, meant for the entire human race. It shows you how to live life. How to live life. That's the theme, the art of living. The art of living and getting enlightened. And how to perform these actions. These actions are to be performed with a spirit of sacrifice. And then it becomes karma yoga, as it is said. Karma yoga does not mean social work. Not in the least. Not in the least. Karma yoga is a sublime spiritual science. Spiritual science. Wherein in the performance of action as karma yoga, every action has to be performed as a karma yoga. And in order for the action to be so done, one must be poised and balanced in the Atman. Only when you are balanced and poised in the Atman does it become a karma yoga. Not otherwise. Now, both for the hermit and for the karma yogi, the world who is living in the world, there is something which is common. Could you tell me what that is, which is common to both? Yes. There is something unique which is common to both.
Divinity and all.
That's right, to be aware of the Atman with it. The awareness of the Atman is common to both. For the person who is doing actions, the awareness of the Atman is necessary. And it's made possible by being in a balanced state. In a state of mental balance and equilibrium, when you are in that state, it is possible. And of course, for the ascetic or for the hermit, his exclusive discipline is on that. He has withdrawn from action. He too is also Atman aware. And being Atman aware, he is getting absorbed in his Atman. While you, the person, karma yogi, he is living his life with Atman awareness, and who knows, if he is successful, he may get absorbed in the Atman. Then when he gets absorbed in the Atman, you know what happens to him? All actions automatically drop away. He becomes good for nothing. They just drop away. Because he is absorbed there in the Atman. Then, how will he be taken care of? Oh, then at that time, there are other mysterious forces which take care of this person. So therefore, if you are successful, you don't have to worry about it. And in case you are not successful, in being totally absorbed, even then you need not be worried about life. You know why? Because all what you are to get, you have been provided for. You have been provided for. Not in your way, but in his way. Remember that. Just as much as you provide your children with what you think is good for them, not what the children feel. The children will give you a list which will end from one end of the universe to the other end. But what the parent thinks, so here also, what the divine thinks. Whatever he has ordained for you in this life, you will get it. So therefore, once again, you can live your life without worry, without anxiety. And you can only do this if you acquire the wisdom. So with this wisdom knowledge, armed with this wisdom knowledge, you can peacefully go through your trials and tribulations and of life, the living of life. But be centered in your true self. This is what the Gita is trying to bring out. To be centered in the Atman, which is your God self, is your God nature. Om Tat Sat.